Psychoanalytical theory or Sigmund Freud's theory of personality. Sigmund Freud's explanation of personality is formed around the concept of id, ego, superego. According to him, behavior is the result of interaction between personality, characteristics, and social physical situations around us. Therefore, unconscious mind is primary source of behavior, which is more part in size or area. Id. It works on pleasure principle. It's always irrational and primitive and instinctual part of the mind that contains aggressive or sexual drives, hidden memories, feelings and emotions, etc. Superego. It is just opposite of id. It operates on moral values, ethics and other philosophical aspects of the life. So here one point we have to keep in mind that it works on always I principle, means it means I, my wishes should be completed. Superego works on a principle of we, means they will be thinking of others or helping others, such aspects. Coming to ego, it is based on reality, so it is always rational. The realistic thinking of ego balances both ego and superego. Sigmund Freud explained this concept of personality with the help of Iceberg Theory. If you see the picture here, the ice part or iceberg below the water level is very huge and it is considered as unconscious mind or part of it, where all our illicit thinking or emotions, ideas will be under the level of the water. Above the water level, we can see the preconscious level or conscious level. So, the huge part is hidden. It is nothing but unconscious mind which influences it or our inner emotions. Conscious mind has thoughts, perceptions, current awareness, and this is at superficial level of the iceberg. Coming to second thing, preconscious memories. It is stored form of information. We can bring this out into conscious level as needed or required. The third and huge part is unconscious level. Fears, irrational, immoral thoughts, selfish needs, strong, unacceptable sexual drives, shameful expressions, violent motives. Therefore, it is based on instincts, ego is based on reality, and superego is based on morality. So, the ego part always acts as a link between it and superego. Then what happens if there is no balance in between these two? That comes as a part of defense mechanisms. Conflicts between id, ego and superego. When id dominates ego, stressing that id's instincts or desires only should be satisfied or fulfilled at any cost, then ego feels hardly pressed by id, so it causes anxiety in the person. Now, when ego is unable to control or anxiety, id fulfills its demands, wishes as needed. Then, superego or morals plays key role by punishing ego by generalizing the feelings of guilt and inferiority and so on. So, it's very clear that ego means reality plays a role of mediator between id and superego. Coming to defense mechanisms which arise due to imbalances between id and ego. It is given by or proposed by Sigmund Freud. These are the strategies or coping skills used by individuals to make or keep themselves away from the unpleasant feelings, situations. Different behaviors used by the people to avoid unpleasant events, actions, thoughts are called as defense mechanisms. Scientifically saying, to mediate between id and superego pressures and demands in environment, ego develops a few defense mechanisms in order to reduce the pressure or anxiety or tension on ego. They are unconscious in nature, as ego is not at all aware of what is happening. Therefore, defense mechanisms are able to fulfill primary functions of ego's perception of reality. just with intention of decreasing pressure on ego and thus maintaining the homeostasis or balance in the person or individuals. Coming to the various defense mechanisms, let us discuss first about projection. Throwing our own unwanted or unacceptable feelings to others. Example, saying that a friend says accused words because it's the self who is saying these abusing words actually. Second example can be, others won't believe as I don't believe others. This can be called as projection, which is the first defense mechanism. Coming to second one, repression. Leaving unpleasant ones, thoughts, feelings or memories in our unconscious state unknowingly. Example, forgetting about an accident or avoiding a criminal incident is considered as repression. Regression. Going back to immature earlier stages of development, i.e., that is going back to childhood. Example, exhibiting temper tantrums. When one's wish is not met, usually we will be behaving childish to get the things or our wishes to be done. Next, rationalization. Giving false or wrong excuses or explanations for our own unacceptable feelings, behavior or thoughts. Example, justifying that I copied in exam as everyone did so. Second example can be, I am not wearing uniform as others are not wearing. Fifth defense mechanism can be displacement. Redirecting our unacceptable feelings from original source to safer and substitute target. Example, showing anger on wife, kids instead of showing the anger on the boss at the office. Next, a wife scolding kids in spite of scolding her husband. Next defense mechanism is reaction formation. Acting exactly opposite way to our own unacceptable impulses, desires and emotions. Example, a step-parent showing too much love on unwanted child. Next, an employee praising his arrogant boss, even though he don't like him. The seventh one can be sublimation. Replacing socially unacceptable impulses with socially acceptable behavior. That is, converting negative thoughts or deeds into positive aspect. Directing aggression into positive constructive activity like arts and games, or showing justice where injustice is happened. The eighth one can be compensation. Trying to substitute his inefficient areas of skills to some other areas where he can excel or score well or do well. For example, a person who is average at academics or studies can excel in sports and arts or dances, so on. The ninth defense mechanism is identification. Creating false but plausible excuses to justify unacceptable behavior. Example, even though shortage of money, a person buys a car and says that I bought it as I deserve it. It's a way of just show off tendency to keep up their superiority. It's just words of boasting. The 10th defense mechanism is denial. A person refuses to accept certain facts about particular situation, unable to accept the truth. Example, one can't believe or accept the loss of beloved one in an accident. The second example can be, a father denies if a teacher says that his son is a liar or a cheater. 11th defense mechanism can be undoing. A person cancels his destructive or aggressive behavior towards subordinate by speaking loving words. Example, to compensate a rude behavior with a friend, one moves with pampering, words or activities and accommodating well with that person. The last and important defense mechanism is isolation, means avoiding. Avoiding experience of an emotion associated with a person, idea or a situation. Example, speak about an accident day in a factual way without any emotions. So these are the few important defense mechanisms which are explained by the Sigmund Freud that are followed by the ego to maintain the balance or equilibrium between id and superego. Thank you one and all.